Oh God, we back, y'all. We back. Me and my beautiful wife. I love you, baby.
I love you too.
Okay. Well, today we're having a discussion. A young lady reached out to me and told me her story about lupus. And if you all do not know, my little sister has lupus. She has been diagnosed since college, and it attacks her liver. Like I spoke before about Lady Nika, it attacks her skin, along with Trick Daddy. You know, their skin, like, and you know, it attacks organs, and you have different organs. It's
Skin is an organ.
your skin is an organ, believe it or not. That's why
It's the largest.
It's the largest organ. Thank you, my love. You know, like I said, it attacks my sister's liver. It attacked my aunt's heart. You know, you may come across some people that are diagnosed with lupus, and I think they, you know, I do be thinking that sometimes it attack people's brain.
It does. It can attack your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, your brain, your joints. These are, yeah.
So, because I woke up this morning, read the DM that the young lady sent me to my wife. Y'all know that my wife is a RN, BSN, and she has how many years experience as a nurse, my love? Can you please break down? Can you please break down from when you got out of when you took the bar right before? Not the bar, the license.
When it was between law and nursing.
FYI. It was FYI. Me and my wife met before the license for, you know, the people that don't know what's going on. But okay, you took your license, and then your experience goes to
Right. I got my nursing license in 2003. I finally passed the NCLEX, and so I've been a nurse. Coming up on 16 years.
12, 16 years. You
16
worked at
years.
it. Okay, you don't. Well, you said already that you worked for PG County Hospital, and that was a trauma center. We're going to talk about everything except for what you do right now, because these bitches is crazy, right?
Right.
So you worked for PG. What were you doing in PG? You was working.
So I started off on Med Surg Tele unit, and Tele is telemetry, is like a heart
I
unit.
need you to speak up, boo.
I was gonna cut.
You want to
shut the
go
door.
turn the heat off, because
Okay.
that thing be
Yeah.
so loud. Hold on, guys. Our heat be so loud. Go ahead.
Started off at PG Community Hospital, and then I was doing medical surgical telemetry nursing. So that's like anything med surge you come in for, any issue, broad spectrums that don't require a specialist, and you have an issue that basically an internal medicine doctor could help you with. But then it was a specialty of tele, so I worked hand in hand with the cardiologist. And if anybody knows anything about community hospitals, you get all the other patients to the floor. So then we used to call it the step-down ICU, because we kept vented patients on that floor too.
Vented? What is
Vented? Like patients that needed tracheostomies or and ventilation, the patients that couldn't breathe on their own.
Okay.
All right? So,
The next step?
next step?
Next step as in you were not on that floor the entire time. You moved to...
Okay, and so after I got that initial training on that floor within the same hospital, I moved to OBGYN. And I stayed in OBGYN for some years at PG Hospital until they started talking crazy about retirement benefits and
Oh, Lord.
and retirement packages being used to keep the hospital open. And if any nurse that works inside of a hospital knows about these problems, potential problems for retirement and retirement issues. Okay, so I decided to apply for another company. Okay, outside of the capital, and I did get a job with that company. I did OBGYN with that company, as well as a specialty that is called antepartum. So I work with the antepartum doctor.
Could you tell everybody?
I'm going to tell them what it is.
What's that red thing right here, boo?
I don't know.
Did you scratch yourself?
Maybe.
Okay, go ahead, my love.
So that physician sees women that are pregnant with issues in pregnancies. So whether they are diabetic, whether there's a fetal anomaly, maybe it's something going on with the baby might have some genetic problems or, whatever. So I have a broad experience.
Okay.
From
there. And then in between you work for the Capitol. Okay.
So that was the next stop before coming to Atlanta. I worked at the US Capitol, and that was not public health, community health. So kind of public health.
Okay.
Public health nursing.
And they basically train you like the military, I think you said. Like you are a military nurse, correct?
Right. That office is actually run by the Navy. Mm-hmm. So Naval Corpsmen, we work with them hand in hand. And the admiral, the physician is actually an admiral.
Oh.
So, but in that position, we got to work with, of course, the senators, the Congress, all the dignitaries that come to the U.S. Capitol if they stop in with an issue or concern. I can't say what we do with the Congress and the senators
exactly
on taping.
Because just in case we go back home, goddamn it, I need you to go
I'm
back there.
I'm definitely calling them.
You better, goddamn.
I can't say what we do with them, but
I don't know. You're not going back unless they can match your money. You're not going back
right,
there.
But
you're
we
so
might
greedy.
But we talk about having a little property back home.
I do. I want my property back home.
Well, in any case, we also work with the staffers that work in the U.S. Capitol and any visitors that come that have issues. So, visitors come. If you have a trip for the Capitol, they're not stopping a trip for the Capitol. I done treated people coming in with a heart attack. And I'm like, sir, you woke up with chest pain? And you was sweating like this morning? And he like, but I had to come to the Capitol. I'm like,
nigga,
let me get these paddles ready in case I got to shock your butt up in this joint. But yeah, people don't stop their visit to the Capitol. I've had to treat children whose parents, they may have been coming from like Florida or something, and their parents sent them to the Capitol during the winter with they were not properly dressed for winter, no under thermals, no coats, and straight hypothermia when children. Different stuff like that. So pretty much anybody can land in the Capitol with any problem.
I see that. I didn't know that. Well, you teaching me something today too, right? Mm-hmm. And then now for all you nosy mother hunches that like, how does a nurse make money? My wife is no longer on the floor. That's how you make money. Get the fuck off the floor. But some people like that action. Like the ER nurses, like Nurse Betty. Who was that nurse we used to watch that was addicted to drugs?
Shoot.
Nurse somebody? I used to love that show.
Betty. I don't think it was Betty. I cannot think of her name. Nurse Jackie.
Nurse Jackie, yes. Oh, my God. But some people like that. But, my wife is a different kind of person. Virgo.
Right.
Efficient. Brilliant.
A lot of the physicians and the nurses fall in the month of August and September.
A lot of them are water signs.
2. What's the water sign?
Scorpios. I think you have a lot of Scorpios, a lot of Cancers, and a lot of Virgos.
Yeah, I have a lot of Cancers on the birthday months.
Yeah. It's strange for me to find a person in the medical field that is a Libra. Most of them will be administrators, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to give you a little background on my wife, so then that way when she speaks, you all understand the accomplishments and why I feel that she can speak on certain subjects, right? So, anyway, getting back to the young lady who had the concern about her lupus. And I mean, her story is very, very tragic. And my wife began to get very passionate about it. And she spoke about Black women being advocates for themselves, right?
Correct.
So
you always have to be an advocate for yourself, no matter what.
In regards to health, right?
In regards to health. I know a lot of times Black women are thought of as being, so strong and this source of strength. And even black women feel like that. They come into offices. I've had patients that will sit in front of a physician and not tell them something that's going on with them.
Because we don't like to complain. That's why. We
Right.
don't like to complain. And remember, listen, guys, I don't like to take my wife in doctor's appointments with me. She's very controlling when it comes down to that, because she's like, oh, you forgot to tell him this. Oh, you forgot to tell him that. That's because, some stuff I just don't want her to know, but she's always in my face and she's always in my business when it comes down to health. I love you.
I love you too, baby.
I love you. I've been pulling on this little piece of hair, baby. But, that's because she knows that we will let the things, we won't say everything, because we just, I don't know. It's like you
y'all
said,
put pieces together and y'all think, it's up to us as the medical professionals to put this puzzle together. You need the whole picture. When y'all come in, be y'all advocates. Things that's going on with you, write them down. Because it's a whole picture. We have to put it together. Something might have been going on for over years, time to add up to a bigger picture. And sometimes we as medical professionals need to do better in listening and taking cues. But I literally have had women, specifically black women, have the physician leave and then say something to me. And I'm like, what? What the? Let me go call and get Dr. So-and-so back in the office, to see you about whatever this is. Because,
But can I tell you something, as a patient and you being a medical professional? A lot of times what really pisses us off about y'all, please forgive me, boo, because you do it to me all the time. Sometimes we're talking and we're trying to tell you, and I know that y'all on a scale or a time schedule, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes y'all end up saying things before we get a chance to say it. You guys always kind of finish our sentences for us, or you think that you know where we're going, and then sometimes we could just go with it just so fucking he not listening or she not listening anyway. So sometimes medical professionals don't put us in a comfortable situation where we can tell our whole story, because we're cognizant of the time. We know that you're just trying to get to the next patient, know?
Right.
So with that being said.
But you just know that when you're there and you're sitting in front of the physician, that is your time. And if it's ever something that you feel as though your physician or nurse practitioner is not taking heed to, ask them to note it in the chart for you.
Really? So
that you can say that you brought up a concern. Yeah, if you feel as though there's something going on wrong with your breathing, but they think you're young, because sometimes, we're our practitioners. You are only as good as you practice, okay? You're a practitioner.
Okay.
And sometimes you may be rushing. Sometimes you may not be listening. People have things going on with themselves. They're human. So when you tell them something like that, if you say to that practitioner, can you note it for me? They're going to take a long, slow pause and think, oh, maybe I need to order a test for this. Because I'm typing this up and I'm putting it inside of a record that is by law legal now. I mean, it's legal document.
So you just said it's a legal document once they put it in a record.
That's right.
So what you suggest is that if a doctor shoos away your concerns about your health, you should say the words you should use is, can you note that for me?
That's right. Could you document that in my chart, my concern? If you have to ask for a copy of that visit, do it. It doesn't matter, because they need to know that you have a concern about something. You pay for your monthly insurance. I don't care if you're Medicaid, Medicare. Okay? Somehow, your insurance is being provided by. And so if you're having an issue, you need to be worked up appropriately. And I can't say what's appropriate. We all have scopes of practices. I'm a nurse. I'm an RN, BSN. I have a scope of practice. The physicians have a scope of practice. Everybody can go beyond their scopes of practice.
Meaning limitations to
That's
the two. Right.
I cannot diagnose somebody, but my friends can call me and tell me what's going on, and I can tell them, hey, you really need to be seen by a physician. I can't give you a diagnosis, but hey, it sounds like something is going on.
Right. So the reason also why we did this is because when I was telling my wife the story, she was basically disgusted at the fact that the person had to move. The person had to literally give up her life because of the disease. She had to move from wherever she was in order to get the proper care, because I think she said she had like a knee replacement or a shoulder replacement or something like that. She said she had to move from one place to another just to get diagnosed correctly. And I thought that was
a concern for me, because to me, some of the symptoms possibly previous to this particular person's case may, those symptoms could have added up to an autoimmune disorder a long time ago.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know that to be true just based on from what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility.
Well, I think that lupus is like one of the hardest diseases to diagnose,
to
be quite frankly to you.
It is.
And I'm going to say this. The people who have the skin, where it attacks your skin, I think that is the one that is most, that you can see.
I know someone whose niece was affected by that at an early age with the skin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, baby.
So they have a big lupus walk out here in Atlanta in the summertime, actually.
Well, you already know I'm down with that because of my sister. But the hardest part about lupus, what I feel, is that people don't understand your flare-ups, your storms. You can go a long while and be okay, and and then just out of the blue, the disease will attack you. And it's a hell of a motherfucker. And people don't understand the disease because it's not seen unless it's on your skin.
Right, and it's a real fickle disease. Like lupus, we call it, tends to wax and wane. So that means like periods of no symptoms, wax and wane.
Wax and wane?
Wane, like people with MS, people with lupus, people with autoimmune diseases, we call it wax and wane, where basically there's periods of no symptoms followed by a flare. Okay. Now, some people get in storms with their diseases, and they may stay in a flare for months. And have to have treatments of steroids, and steroids make you gain weight. But lupus flares can be triggered by sunlight, infections, and stress, and that's just that's broad.
Yeah, that's kind of scary to think that just stress. I mean, a lot of things could be triggered by stress. But I think our main point right now should be, like as Black women, we should gain control of our emotions, our health, advocate for ourselves, like my wife just said, and be aware of the triggers of stress. Even when it comes down to, this YouTube bullshit, this shit can be a bit stressful too. So I just want people to be aware and be as calm as possible, because as Black women, we're already struggling with things like, high blood pressure, diabetes and stuff like that. Please be aware of your mental health. I don't know if we're going to have a conversation. Guys, put below if it's a conversation in regards to the medical industry that you want us to have a conversation about, because we do this just about every Wednesday. It's Tuesday today, but I'm doing something else tomorrow. Wait a minute, you got to go in the office on Thursday? Okay. So I think I'm going to do that. Okay. So, at any rate, guys, thank you for listening. All my love is to the young person that gave me a DM. I'm trying to help her to start her, she's not a young person. I just call her young. She's just a bit older than me. But I'm encouraging her to start her channel and speak about her lupus. And ladies, let's just take care of ourselves and get away from the fuck shit that causes us unnecessary stress, okay? Oh, remember this? The same people you meet on the way up will always be the same people you meet on the way down. Naysayers. My patron loves House and They Rob. Be good to each other. Do.